Shalom. All praise is due to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua Bashem, Rakakadash. Say double honors to Apostle Eliezer Great Millstone, who teaches word is sincerity and truth to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of the earth. This is your brother, Yuwaso. Just gonna get into another lesson to have a certain mind as the Lord did in upholding the truth. You know, the servant is not greater than the master, and the whole point of being in this truth is to have humility and perfecting where you are weak in your um, daily life spiritually. Those are the attributes that we're supposed to be building up to be worthy of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. I'm going to just read this in Philippians 2 and 1. It says, if there be any, therefore any, if there be therefore any consolation in Hamashiach, if any comfort of love, keeping the commandments to the best of your ability, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, get that bowels there.
Strong's G 4698. Splag Khan. Splag Khan.
Probably strengthened from spleen, bowels, intestines, the heart, lungs, bowels. The bowels were regarded as a seat of more violent passion, such as anger and love, but the Hebrews as a seat of the tender affections, especially kindness, benevolence, compassion, hence our heart's tender mercies, affections, a heart in which mercy resides. So, I gotta say, these are the attributes that we're supposed to have in Yahushai, serving Him when it comes to even amongst brothers, right? To have the spirit and you know, being merciful, but at the same time you gotta um, balance them both out. It says, if there be therefore any consolation in Hamashiach, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. So having the hive mind amongst one another, because we're a part of the body, to have the mindset of Yahushua, because Yahushua is the head, and we're just to follow that, right? Because he was perfect when he came on earth to do the bidding of Yahweh Shemi Shai. It says here, verse 3, it says, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. So you do this not to puff up yourself, but in humility to obtain that crown for the coronation from Yahuwah Shemi Shai. Right? Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Don't look, NLT it says, don't look out only for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. So that's your brothers, all right? I could read up there. It says, verse 3, NLT, it says, don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Yeah, this is not a competition thing. The only person you should be in competition with is that evil man that you once were, right? To avoid and abstain from the imperfections that kept you away from Yahushai, from when you were going off and you're in the world and all that um, negligence because of ignorance, right? We are in ignorance. It says, don't be selfish, don't try to impress others, be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Yeah, because in this truth, you don't really know who you're around. I mean, like in a spiritual sense, I'm not trying to glorify the flesh right now. So that's the thing that we have to look at. Um, so let me get back. Let's look at verse Philippians 2:5 says, "Let this mind be in you, which also was in Yah Hamashiach Yahweh Hamashiach Yahushai." So um, says verse 5, you must have the same attitude that Hamashiach Yahushai had. Yeah, so you gotta be. This is a very serious, tender um, thing that you're dealing with, right? So verse 6 it says here in KGV, it says, who being in the form of God thought it would be robbery to be equal with God. Tia says, though he was God, he did not. Well, he was a smaller version of God, right? Because he's an extension. Yahushua is an extension of Yahweh, right? But he's not the one who's the main thing. He's on the right hand side of Yahweh, right? So he's his son, his firstborn son, right? First spirit, right? Spirit that he created that is in his likeness. Though he was though he was God, he did not think of himself. He did not think of equality with God as something to cling to. Okay, so I'll read. I'll read down at 7 NLT. It says, instead, he gave up his divine privileges. He took the humble position of a slave, servant to Yahweh, right? To come in the flesh, right? So he was a servant of Yahweh, as we are too. But he did it in an excellent form of in humility, because he's an unblemished lamb, and was born as a human being when he appeared in human form. He humbled himself in obedience to Yahweh and died a criminal's death on a cross. So he took on that blame. He took he had to take on. He accepted his iniquity, what he did in his past life. But when he came, he did what was the righteous thing to do, because that was his purpose, right? As we have a purpose, so we have to follow in the same fashion as Yahushua did, to put our 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 ignorance aside and man up to confession, our confession, because we're on trial, so that we may be pardoned. He humbled himself in obedience to Yahweh and died a criminal's death on the cross. Therefore, Yahweh elevated him to the place of highest honor and gave the name above all other names, that at the name of Yahushai every knee shall bow, every knee shall bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth. So let me go into this, see what we can get here. Because everybody loves this. Jesus.
Strong's G 2424. Jesus.
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 Jesus. So it says it's supposed to be Yahweh Shai, but it says here, you already know. Um, Jehovah is salvation. Jesus, the Son of God, the Savior of mankind, God in reincarnate. Jesus, Barabbas was the captive robber whom the Jews begged Pilate to release instead of Hamashiach. Joshua was the famous captain of the Israelites' successor. So there you go. It's like, why is it saying that here? And why is it relating to that? So, you people that are in your churches, you're going to have to do a lot of more research. And we've been spiritually beating you over the head, and you still haven't really got it right. So you could stay in your little corruptive ways and not still not find the error in what you're doing. But sooner or later, it's gonna the wake up call is coming, or that bell is not gonna be ringing anymore. It says Jesus, son of Eleazar, one of the ancestors of Hamashiach, Jesus, surnamed Justus, a Jewish Christian and associate with Paul in the preaching of the gospel. It says, i.e., Joshua, the name of the Lord, and 3 other Israelites, Jesus. Yep. So, something you need to digest, you scoffers, scoffalites that come against apostles and elders of Great Millstone, saying that, you know, what you want to say, or hiding the name in a napkin and doing all those sorts of deviancy. Verse 10, it says, that at the name of Yahushua every knee should bow, of things things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Yahushua HaMashiach is Lord, to the glory of Yahweh the Father. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So knowing, you know, dealing with the everyday troubles that even Yahushua had to face, you have to deal with that too. I'll read it here. It says in 12 in the NLT, it says, dear friends, you always followed my instructions when I was with you, and now that I am away, it is even more important. Work hard to show the results of your salvation, obeying Yahweh with the deep reverence and fear. So, gotta deal with get rid of the, humble yourself and don't have the inward agitations. Just humble yourself and deal with reality that you gotta walk the same path as Yahushua. as other brothers are dealing with in their daily lives with humility, right, and integrity. Uh, 13 KGB, for it is let's see what I'll read it NLT. It says, "For God is working in you, giving you the desire and the power to do the what pleases Him. Do everything without complaining and arguing, mm, so that no one can criticize you. Live clean, innocent lives as children of Yahweh, shining it like bright lights in a world full of crooked and perverse people. Hold firmly to the word of life. Then, on the day of Yahushua HaMashiach's return, I will be proud that I did not run the race in vain, and that my work was not useless, so that you receive the crown of unto coronation, right, and not doing this for filthy lucre's sake, because buy the truth, sell it not, and having pointing fingers at everybody else in your midst that's in the truth. You need to realize that your own thumb is pointing at you too. At the same time, you're pointing at somebody. So I'm saying on a spiritual note, not everybody's gonna do that physically, but like you have to understand that when you point fingers at somebody, you gotta remember that the same finger is pointing back at you, and be you gotta be sincere. But that's being sincere is like you gotta be honest with yourself. Why are you in this truth? Like your whole point, like you have to be on the same page as Yahushua was, right? So you have to be inconsiderate about that. You have to. It's not an easy task, but it takes time. But you have to be not ignorant when it comes to this truth, because it's a very delicate thing. Because it's like dealing with a woman, a very sensitive woman. That's what this truth is, right? Or a double-sided blade. Uh, says 17, but I will rejoice even if I lose my life, pouring it out like a liquid offering to God, to Yahweh, just like your faithful service is an offering to God, and I want all of you to share that joy. Yes, you should rejoice, and I will share your joy. Um, yeah, yes, that's it. But I'll continue with something else. But with that, I'm just gonna say shalom. Keep your faith intact and fear Yahweh Shem Shai.